Hey folks, welcome back to another video. My name is Matt Kuda, and today we're going to talk about a camera that is anticipated most likely early next year, the Canon R5 Mark II. The Canon R5, a huge success story for Canon and really helped them during a time when Sony was really dominating the mirrorless camera industry. This camera alone, in my opinion, saved Canon from a very, very tough time with Sony. And our specifications today are leaked specifications from Canon rumors, who got them from a somewhat reliable source, I'm told. But we're early in the game. Anything is possible here. Remember, the Sony a7R5, we were told would have a 100 megapixel sensor. I knew that was wrong. So keep that in mind when you're watching this. This is great fun, great entertainment, but it is early yet for exact specifications. Okay, so the Canon R5 Mark II. It is supposed to have a 61 megapixel sensor. I know what you're thinking. This is just a copycat of the a7R5 and the a7R4. It could be. It could be Canon saying, hey, we need to keep up with what Sony is doing and just let them know that we are not going to give up on this mirrorless technology and that we are going to make this thing work. And not only that, it's going to make Canon stay at the top. Okay. So 61 megapixel camera, it's a big upgrade from the 45 megapixels of the Mark I. I'm all for it, 61 megapixels. From a nature perspective, which is what we do on this channel, certainly providing a camera that has amazing detail is great for landscapes. It's good for wildlife photography and cropping that image down in post-production. And that is something that we need to do very often with these cameras. It has a dual Digic-X processor. This processor was first introduced by Canon with the Canon 1DX Mark III, if you remember. And it's been a very successful processor. So no brainer here for Canon. I think keeping this processor the same, just as Sony is doing with the Beyond's processor, it makes good sense. It makes things cheaper for them. It makes the parts easier to obtain for these cameras. Okay, 30 frames per second electronic and 12 mechanical. That's an upgrade from the 20 frames per second electronic currently in the R5, and the 12 frames mechanical stays the same. That's a sweet spot right there. I would love to see all Sony cameras go to that, for example. Being able to shoot 12 frames mechanical is awesome for doing certain types of photography that require a mechanical shutter. It's also important when we're talking about the 30 frames per second electronic, when we're talking about doing flight shots, action shots, and so forth. What we're not told in these leaked specifications is, will this be a BSI stacked sensor? We are told it will be BSI, but will it be stacked? And to me, that is crucial when it comes to wildlife photography in particular. Being able to shoot blackout free with no distortion is very important to me. Okay, it's got the 8-stop IBIS. We're seeing that across the board on other camera manufacturers as well. So that's, I guess, par for the course. It has what Canon calls a 2x, 4x, and 8x digital teleconverter. Essentially what that means is it crops in camera to 2x, 4x, and 8x. Now that's pretty cool. And you can do that if you've got a 61 megapixel sensor, right? This is similar to what Sony calls APS-C mode. It has the same dual, as far as we know, has the same dual pixel CMOS AF2 autofocus system as seen in the R3 and the R6 Mark II. So again, it's going to be a good autofocus system. The R5 is no slouch when it comes to autofocus. Everyone that I've talked to, every review that I've ever seen, they love the R5's autofocus system. It's going to have internal 8K 60p video recording. We don't know the full spec, but we do know it's going to be 8K at probably 60p. We're going to have internal 4K at 30p, 60p, and 120p. And all the 4K will be oversampled. So we won't have any kind of, pixel binning or any kind of, just cropping directly on the sensor. So it's going to have 240 frames per second possible, but only in full HD. So your slow motion will be only in HD. Now, I personally have a problem with that as I'm getting more into videography, and I know why Canon and why Sony are doing this, and it's because they want you to upgrade to their cinema line if you're serious about videography. Well, some of us are getting more serious, but we're not ready to take that plunge into videography and spend another $3-4 grand on a camera when a hybrid could give us at least basic functionality like 120p and 4K and 240p and 4K. So I think we need to step that up is what I'm saying. I think Canon needs to. I think Sony, all of them need to step up and just start providing these slow motion options in all of their cameras. The focus breathing correction is here for video. So that's good. That's something that we're seeing too in the Sony line. It's something that has been needed for some time when it comes to video. So I'm happy to see that here. It's supposed to have a new overheating design similar to the R6 Mark II that we saw last month during doing video. At least 40 minutes of 8K video. So that's awesome. We're looking at the standard HDMI port, not the mini HDMI. Thank you, Canon, for doing that. I'm so tired of the mini HDMI. It's just stupid to have two different cables around for doing the same thing you always do. Now, here's another competition thing with Sony. They're saying this is going to have the 9.44 million dot EVF, the same exact one that Sony has as far as the quality goes. I definitely see a theme here. I think they're, either Canon Rumors is all messed up, or it looks like Canon is really trying to compete hard against that A7R5 particularly. And they're taking a chunk out of it, in my opinion, here. Not only with the better EVF that Sony has, but also with frames per second. I think they're killing Sony on frames per second. I don't know why Sony on the A7R5, for example, why they're still at 10 frames per second. I don't understand that. It should be at least 12 frames mechanical, at least 12 frames electronic, if not more. I don't understand. Now, again, there's this concept, guys, that I repeat over and over again, and that is a camera manufacturer is not going to compete with itself. They're not going to outprice themselves. So in other words, out-feature themselves, I should say. So, Sony, of course, has the A9 series, the A7R series, the A7S series, and the A1. And so they're not going to make they're not going to make their A7R5 do everything, right? Now, Canon is really trying to catch up, and so they're really hitting us hard with features, and I appreciate that. I welcome it. I think Canon's doing an amazing job there. Keep on doing it. It has a new design of the vari-angle LCD. I don't know what that's going to look like. It's supposed to be more video centric, so maybe it's going to flip up, you know, behind the camera. So, you know, if I were looking, and as my hands out here, you know, if I were looking, you know, if that was the top of the camera right there, I'd be looking at that instead of it being out here to the side where I can't see it. So it keeps me from looking over here, you know, at the very angle touchscreen versus here. So I get that. If that's what they're going to do, I would say excellent, excellent for Canon. So we're looking at a launch time of 2023 on this, probably Q2. So it's a ways out, but it's time for us to start looking at the specs. It's time for us to start thinking about, you know, is this going to be something worth upgrading to? As we get closer to launch, keep following me. My specs will get better. They'll get more fine-tuned as better leaks come out. Canon actually, I think, personally, this is my opinion, I think they intentionally leak information. I think Sony is not known for that, but I think Canon does do that because their leaks are much better generally than Sony's leaks. So I think it's going to be, I think this is going to be a great camera. I think it's going to be a great upgrade for those from the R5. And it's going to, one more thing I wanted to say, the dual CF Express Type B card slots, that's welcome as well. I think overall, again, it's going to be a good camera. It's going to work exactly what you want it to do. It's going to do exactly what you want it to do. It's going to be an upgrade from the R5, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Bottom line, thanks for watching. Make it a great day, and get out there and enjoy nature. Bye-bye.